If your blood sugar is still high right now, even after you cut the sugar, even after you started taking your medication, even after you did everything you were told to do, then I need you to stop for just a moment. Because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes could be the most important thing you hear all year. Not because it is complicated, not because it requires something expensive, but because almost nobody is talking about the real reason your numbers are not going down. And once you understand it, once you actually see what is happening inside your body, everything starts to make sense. So before you eat anything tomorrow morning, before you take anything, before you go about your day, I watch this all the way through because the part that changes everything comes near the end. And if you skip it, you will miss exactly why most people try everything and still get nowhere. Let me start with something simple. Think about the last time you finished a meal and felt that slight heaviness settle into your body. That quiet drag that pulls your energy down. That moment where your mind gets a little foggy and your body just wants to sit still. Most people think that is normal. Most people think that is just what happens after eating. But it is not normal. That is your body sending you a signal. A signal that something is not working the way it should. And here is what makes this so important. That feeling, that heaviness, that energy drop after you eat, it is directly connected to what is happening with your blood sugar. And the fact that it keeps happening means the root problem has not been addressed yet. Not even close. My name is Miguel Castillo, and over the years I have had hundreds of conversations with people who are frustrated, tired, and genuinely confused about why their blood sugar stays high. People who are doing their best, people who are following instructions, people who are not giving up, and almost every single time the same pattern shows up. They have been focused on the wrong thing, not because they are careless, but because the information most people receive about blood sugar only tells half the story. Today, I want to tell you the other half. Here is what most people are never told. High blood sugar is not just about what you eat. That is the part everyone hears. Eat less sugar, cut the carbs, avoid this food, reduce that one. And yes, those things matter, but they are not the whole picture. The deeper issue, the one that almost nobody talks about, is how your body responds to what you eat. Because two people can eat the exact same meal and have completely different blood sugar responses. One person's levels go up and come back down smoothly. The other person's levels spike and stay elevated for hours. Same food, very different results. Why? Because the problem is not just the food. The problem is the system inside the body that handles the food. And for millions of people, that system has been quietly breaking down for years. Let me take you back for a moment. Think about a few years ago, maybe 5 years, maybe 10. Think about how you felt after eating back then. Your energy was more stable. You did not think about your blood sugar after every single meal. You did not feel that constant low-level concern that follows you through the day. Now you could eat a full plate of food and just move on with your life. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Your body started responding differently. The same meals that used to be fine started making you feel off. The numbers that used to be normal started creeping up, and no matter what you tried, they would not come back down the way they used to. You felt that shift. You knew something was different, but nobody gave you a clear explanation for why it happened. Here's what I want you to understand. That change was not random. It was not just aging. It was not bad luck. It was your body adapting over time through a combination of stress, low-grade inflammation, repeated blood sugar spikes, and the daily wear that comes with modern life. Something changed inside your cells. And that change has a name. It is called insulin resistance. And it is the hidden reason that blood sugar stays high even when people do everything right on the surface. Now, I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but most people do not really understand what it means in practical terms. So let me explain it in the simplest way I know how. Imagine every single cell in your body is a room, and that room needs energy to function. Glucose, which is basically sugar from the food you eat, is the energy that needs to get into that room. But the room has a locked door, and insulin is the key. Insulin is a hormone your body produces to unlock those doors and let the glucose inside. When everything is working properly, you eat, glucose enters your bloodstream, insulin shows up, unlocks the doors, glucose gets in, your blood sugar comes back down, and you feel good. That is the system working. But here is what happens over time. When the body deals with too many spikes, too much stress, too much inflammation, those locks start to get stiff, resistant, almost like they are rusted from the inside. So even when insulin shows up with the key, the door does not open properly. The glucose cannot get in. It stays floating in your blood and your blood sugar stays high. Not because you ate too much, not because you have no willpower, but because there is a mechanical problem happening inside your body at the cellular level. That is insulin resistance, and that is what needs to be fixed. Now, here's the part that most people never hear, and it is the most important thing in this entire video. Are you ready? Because this changes everything. Insulin resistance is not permanent. Your body did not break, your cells are not destroyed. What happened is that your body adapted to a certain environment over time. And here is the powerful truth about adaptation. If your body adapted one way, it can adapt back. The same cells that became resistant can become responsive again. The same system that stopped working can start working again. It does not happen overnight, but it does happen. And it happens when you give your body the right tools. Specific natural compounds that work with your biology instead of against it. Compounds that target the actual root of the problem, not just the symptoms. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Now, before I go further, I want to ask you something. Have you noticed your energy dropping more after meals than it used to? That feeling of heaviness or brain fog that was not there before? Just leave a comment below. Just say yes or no, because you would be surprised how many people are experiencing this exact thing and have no idea it is connected to their blood sugar. Your comment also helps me understand what you are going through, so I can keep making content that actually helps you. Let me walk you through the 3 specific mechanisms that are at the center of what we are talking about today. 3 things that happen inside your body that directly control how your blood sugar behaves. And I am going to show you how one simple, natural source addresses all 3 of them at the same time. No complicated protocol, no expensive program, something that most people already know but have never thought about in this way. Let us start with the first mechanism. The first mechanism is insulin sensitivity. This is the foundation. Without this, nothing else works well. Remember the locked doors I described? Insulin sensitivity is basically how well those locks respond to the key. When your insulin sensitivity is high, your cells respond quickly and efficiently. Glucose gets in fast. Blood sugar comes down. You feel good. When your insulin sensitivity is low, also called insulin resistance, those locks are stiff. The key goes in, but the door barely opens and glucose stays in your blood. So, improving insulin sensitivity is the first and most critical step. Now, a lot of people focus on reducing sugar intake to manage this. And reducing sugar helps, but it does not fix the sensitivity problem on its own. Because even if less glucose is entering your bloodstream, if your cells are still not responding properly, your levels will still stay elevated. You need something that actually improves how the cells respond. And this is where something truly remarkable comes in. Onions. I know it sounds too simple, but stay with me because the science behind this is real, and it is specific. Onions contain a powerful natural compound called quercetin. Now, I do not want to overwhelm you with chemistry. So here is what quercetin does in plain language. Quercetin helps your cells become more receptive to insulin. It essentially works on those stiff locks and helps them open more easily. Studies have shown that quercetin can reduce the speed at which blood sugar rises after meals by improving how the body handles glucose at the cellular level. It is not a drug. It does not force anything. It supports the natural process that your body is already trying to carry out. Think of it like oiling those rusty locks so the key can actually work. And the effect builds over time. The longer and more consistently you give your body quercetin, the more responsive your cells become. Now, here is where most people make the mistake with this. They eat a small amount of onion here and there, maybe in a salad or on a sandwich, and they notice no change and they conclude that it does not work. But the issue is not the onion. The issue is how it is consumed and how much of the active compound is actually being absorbed. There is a specific method of preparation that dramatically increases how much quercetin your body actually takes in, and I am going to get to that in detail. But first, let me take you through the second mechanism because this one is just as important. The second mechanism is controlling how glucose enters your bloodstream in the first place. Even if your cells are becoming more sensitive to insulin, if glucose is flooding into your bloodstream too fast after a meal, your system gets overwhelmed. Imagine trying to pour a full bucket of water through a small funnel all at once. The funnel overflows. That is what happens when glucose rushes into your blood faster than your body can manage it. The result is a spike, a sharp, sudden rise in blood sugar that puts stress on every system in your body. And over time, those repeated spikes are exactly what makes the problem worse. They damage blood vessels, they drive up inflammation, they make insulin resistance even worse. So, managing the rate at which glucose enters your blood is not a small detail. It is a core part of fixing this problem. Onions again play a specific role here, and it is through a different compound entirely. Onions are rich in a type of soluble fiber called inulin. Inulin is a remarkable substance. When you consume it, it forms a kind of slow barrier in your digestive system. Instead of glucose rushing into your bloodstream all at once, inul slows it down. It acts like a gate that controls the flow. Studies have shown that inulin can significantly reduce the peak of blood sugar after meals, not by blocking glucose completely, but by pacing it, steady flow instead of a flood. And when glucose enters your bloodstream at a slower, more manageable rate, your body has time to respond properly. Insulin is released gradually. Cells take up the glucose in an orderly way, and blood sugar levels stay far more stable than they would otherwise. The practical point here is timing. Inulin works best when it is already present in your digestive system before food arrives. That is why when and how you consume this matters so much. If you consume it after a meal, it has far less impact on that meal's glucose spike. But when it is already there, working in the background as food begins to digest, the effect is completely different. And this is another reason why the preparation method I mentioned earlier is so important. It is not just about extracting the compound. It is about setting your body up so that the compound is already doing its job before the next challenge arrives. Let me also take a moment here to talk about something that connects all of this, because I think it is important for you to understand not just what these compounds do, but why they matter in combination. Your blood sugar response to any given meal is not determined by a single factor. It is determined by many things happening at the same time. How sensitive your cells are, how fast glucose enters your blood, how well your body produces and releases insulin in response, how much inflammation is present, how your liver is managing glucose storage. All of these are happening simultaneously. And this is why targeting just one thing, just eating less sugar, or just taking one type of supplement, or just doing one type of exercise often produces limited results. Your body needs support across multiple mechanisms at the same time. And that is exactly what makes what we are about to discuss so compelling, because the third mechanism ties it all together. The third mechanism is supporting your body's natural ability to produce and release insulin itself. Now, this might sound like it contradicts what I said earlier about insulin resistance. If insulin is not working properly because of resistance, why does it matter how much your body makes? Here's why. Even in the presence of some insulin resistance, the amount and timing of insulin your body releases still matters enormously. If your cells are somewhat resistant, but your body releases a good, healthy amount of insulin at the right time, it can still compensate. It can still manage blood sugar reasonably well. But if your natural insulin response has become sluggish, if your body is slow to release insulin or releases too little, then even cells that are working relatively well will struggle to keep up. The two problems, insulin resistance and reduced natural insulin response, often go hand in hand, and addressing both at the same time is what produces real lasting change. Onions contain sulfur-based compounds, which are the same compounds that give onions their distinct smell and their sharp taste. And these sulfur compounds have a fascinating effect on insulin production. Research has shown that these compounds can gently stimulate the cells in your pancreas that produce insulin, encouraging them to respond more actively and more consistently, not in an aggressive or forced way, but in a natural, supportive rhythm. Think of it like giving a tired engine the right kind of fuel. The engine was still running, but with the right input, it runs smoother, more reliably, and at the right time. Studies have documented that regular consumption of these sulfur compounds can lead to meaningful reductions in blood glucose levels over time. Not in a day, not in a week, but over a period of consistent daily use. And the key word there is consistent, because this is where most people give up too soon. Here's something I want you to really hear. Your body did not develop this problem in a week. It developed over months, maybe years of accumulated stress and adaptation. And it will not fully reverse in a few days. That is not failure. That is just biology. That the people who see the most significant lasting improvements are the ones who commit to a simple daily habit and give it enough time to actually work. Not because they are more disciplined, but because they understood what they were doing and why. And that understanding kept them going through the first week when changes are small, and the second week when things start to shift quietly, and by the third and fourth week when the results begin to speak for themselves. Now, I want to be completely honest with you about something else, because I think honesty is more valuable than hype. What I am describing today is not a cure. It is not a replacement for medical care. If you are on medication for your blood sugar, if you are on insulin, you do not stop anything without talking to your doctor. That is not what this is about. What I am describing is a natural, evidence-supported addition to your daily routine that works alongside whatever you are already doing. Something that targets the root mechanisms, not just the surface numbers. And because it can be effective, because it can actually move your blood sugar in a meaningful direction, you should be monitoring your levels as you start incorporating it. Pay attention to the changes. Share those changes with your doctor, because the goal is for your numbers to improve so significantly that your medical team can make informed decisions about your care going forward. Now, let me also address something you might be thinking right now. You might be thinking, I have tried natural things before, and they did not work. I understand that, and I want to explain why that experience is more common than it should be. Most people who try natural approaches to blood sugar do so in a scattered, inconsistent way. A little of this one week, something different the next. No real system, no real understanding of the mechanism behind it. And without that understanding, without knowing what you are targeting and why, it is almost impossible to do it in a way that actually produces results. That is not a failure of natural compounds. That is a failure of information. And today, you have the information. You know the three mechanisms. You know what needs to be targeted. Now let me tell you exactly how to do it. Here is the part that most people miss. And this is the single most important practical detail in this entire video. It is not just about eating onions. Just if that were enough, everyone who added onions to their meals would have dramatically better blood sugar numbers. But they do not. Because the way most people consume onions delivers only a small fraction of the active compounds in a form the body can efficiently absorb. The quercetin, the inulin, the sulfur compounds, they are all present in a raw or lightly cooked onion, but they are locked inside the cellular structure of the onion. And most of that structure passes through your digestive system without releasing enough of those compounds into your bloodstream to create a significant effect. The preparation method that changes this is boiling. When you boil an onion in water, the heat breaks down the cellular walls of the onion and releases the active